Good day, everyone. This is Miles Hischier with the Hire with Miles podcast, where I interview top CEOs and entrepreneurs building groundbreaking companies in 2025. I'm very excited for our guest here today, Matthew Busel, co-founder and COO of Whalesync. Matthew, thanks for taking time in your day to speak with me.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Great. So, yeah, I look forward to hearing more about Whalesync, but let's start with your background and tell me about the journey that's taking you all the way up to founding Whalesync.
Absolutely. So the very quick one is when I was in college, I basically became fascinated with virtual and augmented reality back when that was the hot topic before AI. Got really obsessed with it, ended up writing a book about augmented reality and coming out of school and joining a five-person VR AR startup. There, I really fell in love with just product and software in general. Realized that not only VR and AR were cool, but just building amazing products and software. Joined a company called MakeSpace, which was Series D, a little bit further along. Helped build a lot of product there, and then ultimately met my co-founder, and we decided to start Whalesync. So happy to get into the background of why we started Whalesync, but that's the quick one on me.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the summary. Yeah, tell me about that move from having a background in AR, VR, and then founding like Whalesync. Like, what was yeah, tell me about the backstory of meeting your co-founder and then what led you guys to tackling this particular problem with Whalesync.
Yeah, so along the way of working in that VR startup and then working at MakeSpace, I always wanted to build little companies, side projects, little products, and I wasn't technical. And this was before you could ask AI to write code for you. And so I needed a way to build products, and no-code tools like Zapier, like Airtable, like Webflow were sort of the way that I wasn't able to do that. And so I built little things on the side. Most of them went nowhere. Some of them had a little more success, but ultimately it was just an awesome way to build things and open me up to the idea of, hey, this is a new way of getting work done. My co-founder, his name is Curtis. He's amazing. He's an engineer. He actually started a no-code website builder back in 2012 that he sold to Google. And so we met online, which is a crazy story of its own. But ultimately, both had this shared love of no code and seeing what the world could be. And so that was really the impetus to start Whalesync. Was we brought different perspectives, but wanted to build something that empowered people that weren't developers to do a lot more.
Got it. And as a entrepreneur in tech that is also like not an engineer, I appreciate your journey. Like, I think of going back to early 2010s when you had ideas. If you didn't know how to actually write code, even like front end like languages, it was quite hard to put like a web app or something out into the marketplace. And so, yeah, I remember turning to tools like Zapier and these no code platforms, which always were frustrating because you'd run up against limitations, and I'm sure you remember some of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's always some limit, right, where you have to cross over into for some code. At least back in the day there was. And so yeah, it's been fun to see all these tools evolve over time.
Yeah, great. Okay, so segueing to Whalesync, I think one of the fascinating differentiators you guys have placed on your website is explaining to your prospective clients the difference between automation, which is great for platforms like N8N and Zapier, if this then that type logic, whereas Whalesync focuses on like bidirectional syncing of data, which I can appreciate, like running like Salesforce instances. You want that data to be syndicated across different services, and it's not always the easiest to do. So tell me about how you're building a product that's a complement to Zapier.
Yeah, love that, and that's exactly how we see things. So Zapier is an awesome tool, and we're customers of Zapier and a lot of the other ones in the space. And like you mentioned, what they're really great at is all these if this then that type logic. So like if a contact submits a form on Salesforce, then send them an email and send me a Slack message, right? Like they are just fantastic. Where Whalesync comes into play is more. I have an app and I would like to just control it from a spreadsheet. So I have, let's say, Salesforce, and I want to be able to give my team the ability to update contacts from Google Sheets. Or I have a Webflow website and I want to be able to manage that whole CMS from Airtable, right? And so that's really where it comes in. Under the hood, the way we make that happen is we are two-way syncing the two. So it's just literally connect Airtable, connect Webflow, two-way sync handles it. But fundamentally what it comes down to is I want to use a spreadsheet to control business data, which is just slightly different again from the automation use case that Zapier dominates.
Got it. Understood. And then how large is the team now that you have working on
Yeah,
Whalesync?
yeah. So we're 9 folks today. We're spread around really the whole world now. So we're fully remote. We have people in the U.S., Canada, Europe. So it's been fun.
That's great. That's great. Um, Having run like remote companies exclusively, I always feel like it's a great way to operate. Um, how do you feel about accessing like global talent and working across time zones? How has that worked for you versus yeah, being in person?
Yeah, so it's funny. I'll say, at least on Twitter, you have like remote maximalists and in-person maximalists. I won't say I fall into either of those camps. I think there's pros and cons to going either way. For us, it's been the right decision. Just like you mentioned, we've been able to access just like super, super talented people around the world that if we were concentrated in just San Francisco or just New York, we just never would have been able to attract the same type of people. But look, there is a true flip side to it, which is there's something really nice about being in person. You can just instantly talk to each other. It builds camaraderie, and so we have to kind of go out of our way to try to get these things done in a remote world. But all in all, we're pretty happy with how it works out.
Great. And tell me about your customer support structure with only nine. I know it's still small, but yeah, do you have like a formal like support team built out yet?
Not yet. So we use Intercom as sort of our main way of interacting with customers. We use Linear as our project management tool, and so when a customer reaches out to us and it needs some engineering help, we'll sort of link Intercom and Linear together. In terms of the team, myself, my co-founder, we have a virtual assistant in the Philippines. We have other folks on the team, engineers that go directly. We're very much at the stage where we love talking to customers and trying to help them as much as we can, and so we really are all hands on deck.
Great, great. And speaking of your customers, tell me about like your like ideal customer profile as it stands today. And then I also want to hear about some of the outliers. Like maybe there's like a customer that you've won that's kind of outside of that segment. But let's start with like who you're mainly building for today.
Yeah, really good question. So we have a lot of different types of users depending on the tools they're connecting, right? So the folks that are connecting Supabase and Airtable are different than the ones connecting Notion and Webflow, as an example. And so we really see a wide
Interesting.
variety. But just to paint a little bit of a flavor, some of the folks that are using, let's say, Airtable, Webflow, Notion, right? We have Series D, Series C type companies. Often it's the content marketing team that say, hey, we can speed up our blog post production or our programmatic SEO flow by bringing our Webflow CMS into a spreadsheet, right? And so that's sort of one set of ICP. And then maybe on like a totally other side, we've got people that are building no-code apps or like apps with AI, right, where they're using Supabase as the backend for that, and then connecting that with Airtable or Notion to basically control their database from a spreadsheet. And so very different types of people, very different types of needs, but we see a little bit of both.
Great. And then what about customers that you've won sort of outside of that? Like
Sure.
any, yeah, like large enterprise that's been like, hey, this is kind of fascinating software.
Yeah, we definitely have, I'd say, what's the word? Run the full gamut. We've got, let's say, like very small businesses that are doing like one-off things like, dry cleaners and stuff like that. They're outside of the tech world. And then all the way up to some bigger names that I won't necessarily name, but are ones that are more like household tech companies as well. So yeah, really, really all over the place.
Great, great. And then what is your thoughts on like the role AI like will play? Maybe starting with just your internal operations. Like how are you using AI tools to improve areas like customer support or team efficiency internally?
Yeah, really good question. So internally, I'd say just like every other company, right, we're using a mix of ChatGPT pretty extensively to speed up our workflow for producing content. And so for editing, we don't like fully end to end have AI writing content because we just haven't seen the results be as high quality as we'd like. But as sort of an editor, as a teammate essentially, that can come in and make some quick updates. It's been fantastic. And then as a sort of automation tool, right? We use Whalesync internally, and so we'll often connect, let's say, our CRM. So HubSpot is our CRM. We'll connect that into Airtable. Airtable has AI fields, and we'll use those to enrich our contacts in HubSpot. And so because of Whalesync and Airtable AI, we can basically make our CRM, AI powered, which has been helpful as well.
Got it. Got it. Understood. What do you find, like from like a technical standpoint, is most difficult with like architecting like bidirectional sync between these two platforms? Like, what's some of the main challenges you guys, that sort of keeps you up at night?
Yeah, so I'd say when we started Whalesync, we probably underestimated just how tricky of a problem two-way sync was. We just to give the very quick backstory on this, where we came up with the idea was we just spoke with like 100 people in the no-code space. We were like, hey, show us your problems, show us what you're using. And time and again, they would say, hey, I'm trying to connect Airtable and Webflow, Notion and HubSpot, and I'm using Zapier, and it's like, that's the best I can do. But I'm trying to sync it, and it's just not really a tool for syncing. And so
Right.
we thought, hey, like let's build a two-way sync tool that will handle it. Once you wade into those waters, you see all these technical issues, which is, I'll call out a couple. One, how do you make this real time, right? People want things to sync within, seconds or minutes at most, not hours. And so how do we speed that up? How do we avoid conflicts? If someone makes an update in Webflow and an Airtable at the same time, like which one should win? How do I work with foreign keys if you're a developer, or something called linked records if you're an Airtable person? How do we make sure that those come across? So these are all the things that, over the years we've had to solve and are now part of the product, but definitely a lot of things to make two-way sync work seamlessly.
Nice. Great. Yeah, I can appreciate that. I think years ago, I think of software we were using to sync like Salesforce, and then we were still using like QuickBooks to generate invoices. So we had some software syncing data between those two platforms, and ran into some of those challenges, like editing on both different like source platforms and it interrupting the sync. So I could appreciate Whalesync coming in and taking a more robust approach to building out a platform that handles exactly this problem. So great. If people like want to learn more and find out more about like your company over time, or are interested in joining the team, what are your hiring plans for 2025?
Yeah, so just in general, whalesync.com, obviously the place to go. We have a monthly newsletter as well you can sign up for that, we'll just basically send one email a month with all the latest updates. You can stay up to date there. Hiring wise, we actually just brought on 2 new teammates in the last 2 months. And so
Congrats.
we're really excited about that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So that's been exciting. And so, yeah, we're probably going to be looking in the second half of the year to start adding more folks then. So I'd stay tuned for then.
Excellent. Great. All right, Matthew. I think that's the main questions I have for you today. Thanks for sharing more about like your background and Whalesync and the type of product you guys are building. As mentioned, as an entrepreneur who's non-technical, I very appreciate the product you guys have created and see a very clear use case for it. So definitely resonates with me and much of the audience that watches this. So thank you so much for your time today, and appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me on. It was fun.
Awesome. All right, guys. This is Miles Hischier signing off. Thank you.